Welcome to Triangle BNI. Today's show is brought to you by Simply Done Concierge. Folks, time we can't make more of. So we are here to help you get all the errands and tasks you need done every day so you can be at two places at once. If you go to simplydoneconcierge.com, type in the notes there on what we can help you with. We'll get back with you and help you be more productive and efficient during the day. Hi, everybody. My name is Mike Manning. Each week on Triangle BNI, we bring you a local small business success story. If you're not familiar with BNI, it's Business Networking International, the world's largest networking organization. Our little slice of heaven here in the Triangle, Raleigh, Durham, and Chapel Hill and the surrounding towns. We have 33 chapters and about 580-ish members. And our goal every week is to help each other grow our businesses. And our local small business success story this week is Alison Rosciano with Equity Resources. She is a mortgage loan officer. She is also a member of RDO5 Triangle Business Builders. They meet Thursday mornings at 8:15 a.m. at Triangle Shooting Academy in Briar Creek. Alison is the education coordinator there. Good morning, Alison. How are you?
Hey, good morning, Mike.
We are glad to have you on here today. Education coordinator. Did you volunteer for that, or are you so good they just said, "Hey, Alison, you're doing it"?
It was a little bit of a both. Dresha Marshall was the previous education coordinator, and I thought it sounded like a good way to push my boundaries. So she suggested to step in, and it's been a year. And she told me last week I'm doing a good job. So
All right. Well, good for
I'll keep
you.
doing it.
And it is important because we are there to not only pass referrals and make money, but to learn things and help each other grow a business. So I'm glad you were part of that. You've been a mortgage loan officer for over 15 years. You've seen some changes in the market, haven't you?
Yes, yes, we've definitely seen some changes in the market. It's interesting to be a part of it, to watch it grow, and then to be able to anticipate what's coming up next. That's something that experience has given me. So I'm excited to see what's around the corner.
So you first got into this in what, 2008-ish?
I actually got into the business in 2000. So it was in the subprime industry. I got out of the business for a little while to stay home with kids in 2008. And so I got back in with Equity Resources 7 years ago.
So we came out of, I can't remember when COVID started, so I'd just say before COVID because I can't remember when it was, but there was a time before and kind of during COVID where you think about selling your house and it sold that quick because rates were so low. There are plenty of buyers, but now the market's different. Rates are a little higher. Things are moving slower, but you can still buy a good house today though, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely. The sellers are realizing that it's time for them to maybe give a concession or two. And the buyers just have to be ready to make an offer when they find the house they love. That's the most important part.
Yes, and one of the things that I have learned from mortgage lenders like yourself and realtors in this particular window we're in, back what do we go back 2 years ago when it was, what, 2.8-ish, the interest
Yeah.
rate, a seller would get 10 offers, most
Mhm.
of them were cash, and if you wanted to buy that house, you had to offer like $70,000-$80,000 over.
Yes.
And now that's not quite obviously not 70, 80,000, but now you can kinda actually buy the house for what it's set at, right?
Yeah. Well, the values are set based on the recent sales. So when recent sales popped up like that, then everybody was buying at that level. But now that we're noticing that people aren't offering over and values are staying constant. And there is opportunity to win without offering that much more.
And I'm sure you get phone calls and emails or conversations with people that just swear, "Ugh, I can't buy a house today."
Mhm.
And you're like, let's step over here and chat."
That's the best part. That's the best part. Talk to me first, and then I can tell you what to expect. And then we have other ways to help people with financing that they didn't realize was available. So whether a first-time home buyer, whether you're looking to buy a house for your kids who are going to college, we can,
Oh,
there's a different way for us to structure it so that it makes sense and it's not an investment property. That's a big market right now. Kids going away to college and clients are in that area of their life where they want to give them a head start. So I've got some exciting, ways to make that happen.
So they're buying a house for their kids who are either headed to or are in college?
Right. So instead of renting, the student can actually be the homeowner with the parents as non-occupying co-borrowers.
Wow.
So the student becomes the first-time home buyer, and they can put a less down, than a conventional mortgage would necessarily require. And it's a good way for them to skip the rent.
Those parents were nicer than my kids' parents. Let me just state that unequivocally because I would have never thought to do that.
Well, it's something that you learn when you've been around.
In your years, have you found types of clients that you really enjoy working with?
Well, actually, I love working with anyone who's making a change in their lives. That's the best part, is being there. But my most favorite is that buyer who thinks they can't buy.
Mm.
A first-time home buyer, or someone who's coming out of a separation or a divorce, or a job change, and they just don't think that they qualify based on historical qualifications. But now we have opportunities that we can show them the new direction, and get them to be a homeowner faster than they think.
Are you getting more calls today than a few years ago or just different types of calls?
Different types of calls, not quite as many calls because nobody is really refinancing right now, but there are a lot of people who want to use the equity in their homes. So that's another
Oh.
opportunity to take out some equity if you bought a house, 3 or 4 years ago, and use that to further your real estate investing. So those calls are coming more and more often.
That and I think COVID and then the rate hike that came after that has convinced a lot of people, "Hey, let's just stay where we are, but let's finally make those improvements we've been looking to do."
Yes. And that's the best part, because that's when I can, reach out to the other members in our group, and we can help people renovate instead of moving. And that is also an opportunity for financing. There's a need there for people to know how to get the money out of their home, and use it for home improvements. And that's when my partners come in too. When I have the electrician, the plumber, the GC, everybody helps get the clients what they want without having to move and lose that low interest rate that they have on the first.
I think most everybody that was stuck at home during COVID took, in great detail what they took stock in what their house looked like in the inside, didn't they?
Oh, absolutely. Yep, it's now, I think we designed our addition to look like a hotel room, because we just wanted to feel like we were on vacation all the time.
You guys really did that?
Yeah, yeah,
Oh,
instead of moving, we stayed where we are. We took out a renovation refinance. We used the money to add on to our house. And I said, I want it to look clean and just like a hotel room. And that is what it looks like.
I like that. Now who's allowed in there?
Nobody, just no. It's actually a music studio and a sunroom, but also the master. We have a new master downstairs. So
Good
it's
decision.
a place that everybody likes to hang out now. We just can't eat or drink.
You good. Yeah, it's kinda like a car. Hey, no food allowed in here. You just spill ketchup in your own car, right?
Old enough now that you don't
Yeah.
need to have snack.
So, are you the one with the music skills in the family?
I am not. Glenn is actually the musician. So he plays an instrument, almost any instrument he can pick up and play, and it's been really neat to watch him develop. His musical talent, we inherited a couple of pianos, so it was time to learn piano, and he has a guitar collection that he's,
Oh,
strums as often as he can.
alright.
So
Do you often give him requests of what to play? Because based on the
absolutely.
day you've had?
Yeah, it's karaoke all the time. If he sits down at the piano, I am pulling up the song sheet. Okay, let's sing this. And he actually plays while I create my education moments. It helps me think. So,
Nice. Alright,
good.
so what are a couple of your go-to songs on karaoke?
Oh, wow. Well, we love the Eagles. So
Yep.
that's always easy to do. And then we have a band that we've kind of been following, First Aid Kit. And
Mm,
they're a sister band, and they have some folk music that we love. So those are the ones. And he'll try anything.
okay.
So yeah.
Was okay, can I see any of those videos of you singing on YouTube anywhere?
No, I did sing a song. He has written some originals and he's recorded an album. So I did sing a song with him. So yeah, it might, you never know what'll happen next.
I may have to go searching for that. I'd like to hear that, okay. Do you have a stage name that I can search for you on social media yet?
We haven't gotten that far yet. But
So
I'll let you know for sure.
okay. So in addition to a house that looks like a hotel, I love the logic on that.
Yeah. I want
Huh,
to clean mine. Like I said, I worked with a business coach, and sure enough, she told me that if I wanted to create my reality, my reality was, every day felt like Saturday. And
nice.
yeah,
Okay. I
so
like that.
I try to just treat it like it's a new, and so we wanted our house to kind of reflect that. And when we didn't feel like traveling with 6 kids, going to, a place for the weekend is not always the easiest. Was I didn't think that I could have found the inspiration, but I found it. And that's where it was, in a hotel room in DC.
Very nice. All right. Wasn't the Watergate, was it?
No, but we were close to everything.
Okay. Your company, Equity Resources, is in 10 different states. How big of an advantage of that is that to you for helping local clients here?
Oh, it's a huge advantage. I have a network though across the United States. I know some, so I know lenders in every state. The advantage that we have is that we have a resource for most of the Eastern Seaboard. So if anyone comes to me, I can always help them find the lender that they need. Whoever, if it's not with our company, I'll be happy to refer them to somebody who can help them anywhere else.
And of course, if somebody wanted to buy a nice house or piece of property at the beach, you might be so inclined to meet with them there on a Friday just to,
Absolutely.
yeah.
Absolutely. Especially if they need a plumbing inspection.
Do you go to the mountains as often as you go to the beach?
Yes, we try to travel quite a bit. I mean, my next dream is that we're just going to be the traveling, plumbing,
Yep.
going to the campsites and doing their work and meeting people that way. So one day we'll be out there camping from the coast to the mountains.
There you go. I like this setup here. So you could do a loan from a nice motor home in any part of the state. Actually,
Absolutely.
you could be in West Texas and do that. You, I'm not
Absolutely.
worried about. So Glenn would have to advertise, "Hey, coming to town, need any one-off small jobs?" Because he needs to pay for the campsite for the night, right?
There you go. It's all about trading. He doesn't realize yet that he's going to be doing all the work, but
No, not at all. Not at
I
all.
don't know.
So could you 2 survive in a motor home for a month?
Absolutely. Yep, I absolutely could. Simplifying everything,
Yes.
of course. You
Yeah.
never need to have too many things.
Yeah, about 1999 or so, my father-in-law was in the Air Force, so he retired, and they bought a motor home and just went when I say everywhere, they drove up to Alcan, to
Oh, yeah.
Alaska, they went to Canada, they just met in the Air Force, you make a lot of friends, so they loved it.
Yep.
They
Freedom on the road.
Yep,
Mhm.
and they had their mail forwarded to certain places.
Yes.
Yeah, it's a great system, love the motor
It's
home and their 4 grandkids love spending time with them in there, so yeah, it worked.
Yeah, and that's the thing, when they're little, you can do that kind of stuff, and then hopefully they'll develop a passion for it when they get older.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
always feel like you don't have to go too far from home to have a nice experience, so
Yeah, that's true. There's so many
I like
cool
to stay close to home.
yeah, in Raleigh's, I mean, we're right, 40 and 95. We can go a lot of places in a short amount of
Oh,
time, so that's
that's
good.
right.
Yeah. So tell me the difference between pre-approved and pre-qualified.
If someone is pre-qualified, typically it just means that we've discussed the scenario. I may have reviewed credit. They've completed the application. I've asked them all the questions that I need to know in order to find out how they want to have down payment, where the funds will come from. We kind of have the whole scenario worked out. But most of the time, I've just reviewed credit. I will sometimes have looked at their income documents if they've supplied those. But the pre-approval is going to be really the most important step because it's going to go in front of the underwriter. And we can have a pre-approval back 24 to 48 hours, depending on what time I get it in. But that approval is going to basically be the conditions that they'll need to get to the end of the mortgage process. And the surprise, there won't be a surprise. And that is the most important part, is realizing that you have everything you need, because once you make an offer and you put your due diligence money down, that's non-refundable, and we don't want you to lose a thing.
So for the folks that are listening to the show here, if they are thinking about buying, they should go straight to, well, they should call you first, and we've been putting Allison's phone number on here. But if they don't call you, they should talk to somebody to make sure they get pre-approved and not pre-qualified.
Yes, they need to make sure that they're pre-approved, so that they are guaranteed
Yep.
that they will be able to move forward, because there is money on the contract that is non-refundable.
And then the realtor representing the seller knows that the buyer's legit because they're pre-approved.
Correct,
Okay, gotcha.
correct.
All right.
That's right. And that can make your offer more attractive. If there is a competing situation, it can make your offer more attractive, and you'll know if you can go up or down. I mean, up, you can know if you can go up if there's renegotiation, and there's no surprise. And that's what I can offer too, even over the weekend. People don't buy houses from 8 to 5, Monday through Friday. So if they send me a notice and say, hey, I want to look at this house, I can let them know, hey, there's HOA dues that weren't on the previous pre-approval. Let's take a look at that. That way there's no surprise.
I noticed on your, well, when I get ready to do a show, I do a little professional stalking of my guests, and
Yes.
the little things intrigue me. And so I'm on your business Facebook page, and under the category of hours, you said always open.
Yeah. Yep.
I love
That's
it. Yeah, because people, they may not be able to call you till 5:30 at night, till when they get off work, right?
That's right. And we have a lot of conversations like that in the evening or after, on the weekends, because like I said, that's when folks are looking at houses. That's when they're scheduled. That's when my agents are working. That's when they need to be able to bounce ideas off of me. So I like to be available, and I appreciate it, because most of my clients, they realize that, we all have family time. We all have
Yeah.
time that we're not working. So, it's great to set that up right in the beginning, that I'm here if you need me, and you always know that I'll get back to you.
What was the most recent gathering you had to step away from to take a phone call to make sure everything was in order?
Oh, that was interesting. I was at the Children's Museum on Friday. So I went to Marvel's Museum with the children, and somebody had reached out about wanting to make an offer on an investment property. And I only had to step away briefly because I had the pre-approval in place. So it was a simple phone call. I was able to get my team to update the application. And if they hadn't been pre-approved and they had called me at that time to try to make an offer on the same day, it would have been difficult. We would have gotten it done, but I wouldn't have been able to, step back into the museum. But this way I was able to, they were ready, and we made the changes, and then they could put the offer in.
And all the kids know when you give them the one finger and step away for a size, like, all right, mom's making money.
Yeah. They love it. I
Yeah.
love for them to see that you can work anywhere.
Yeah, I like that. I like that a lot.
Yeah.
So one of the neat things for me to talk to you about is I have 2 kids and I love them. You have 6. I think that would be awesome and a bit nerve-wracking at times, but, uh, was the plan ever to have 6?
No, I never really thought that I wanted to have a big family,
Yeah.
but it just so happened that I had a feeling that I would know when I was done. And having the children has just been, that's the icing on the cake.
Right, and if I get the picture right on your Facebook page, there's 4 girls and 2 boys?
Yeah, 4 girls, 2 boys. And I joke with them that somebody will want to take care of me one day.
Yeah, somebody has to, yeah, the math is in your favor, yes.
Right.
Now, have they decided, 'cause I've had people on the show and we've actually talked about this, have the kids decided who's gonna take care of mom and who's gonna take care of dad?
Well, they kind of have, but, at this point, they can't really, they think I'm gonna be invincible forever, so.
Yes. All moms are. Yep,
That's
I'm with them
right.
on that, so, so from the oldest to the youngest, how many different schools are you affiliated with right now?
Well, funny you should ask. I'm only affiliated with three schools. I have two in middle school, two in high school, and two at NC State. So right now, but so we had one that just graduated from elementary school, and I was just today thinking I should go back on Tuesday mornings and do. It was called the book. Um, oh no, I've drawn a blank. It was called Book Stop and kindergarten and first grade. And if you've ever worked with kindergarten and first graders, I mean, it's amazing.
Mhm.
So I wanted to go back and do it, but I decided, I'm going to stop doing that and I'm going to focus more at the middle school this year. And I'm actually going to substitute once in a while.
Oh, wow. Okay.
It's an easy process to get approved, and they need lots of substitute
Yep.
teachers. And it's a great way to see what's going on in the school and be
Oh,
with your,
big time.
yeah. So
Big
you can choose where you substitute. So I
Yep.
would go. But the relationships that I built with the high school and the middle school, I mean, they're,
Yep.
it's giver's gain.
Yep. When, we have 2 boys, what, 30, 36, and 33 now, and we
Mhm.
were very involved in their schools for that reason. I mean, you learn a lot. You get the best advice I ever got when Travis is our oldest, when he was born, a friend of mine, so this was back in, Dallas,
Mhm.
and he said, "Get to know your kids' friends." That
Mhm.
the because then you knew if somebody, if all of a sudden they started going off the rails, it's like, "All right, let's back up here. Who's telling you that?" So, or if they're the ringleader, hopefully not, but man, those wiser words were never given to me.
Yeah, I can't tell you how many times my kids have said, "How do you know that?"
Yep.
I said,
Oh, the parent pipeline is awesome. Oh,
yes.
yeah, 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 the
Mhm.
boys did that too, and I'm sure we told our parents that.
How do you know?
Yeah, it's
It
like
was totally different.
yeah, yeah, or what's fun is just give 'em enough rope, "So, where'd you go tonight?" And
Right.
just wait, see if they'll bury themselves, so,
Yeah, I
s
love it. They say spill the tea, and I'm like, I know the tea.
yeah,
I
yeah.
don't even know if they say that anymore, but that was last year's term.
No, I'm with you, I'm with you. What advice would you give to somebody who would love to or thinks having 6 kids is a cool thing?
Oh, wow. You can do it. Kids, they're amazing. Two is hard. Having two children was really hard. So that third one, you just kind of going through the motions. I love having a big family. I love, that we were able to be together for a long time. I homeschooled them for many years. And it's just, you have to have a network. You just have to have people around you that are going through it and are willing to help. And again, it's giver's gain, you know?
Well, obviously, you probably started to see who got dad's genes and who got mom's genes, right?
That's the coolest part is thinking about how they were when they were little and seeing how they grow up. And
Yep.
then also being able to relate that to adults because then you can say, wow, they act this way when they're an adult. I wonder what they went through when they were growing up. And that's very interesting to me,
So
you
the
know.
2 in college, who are they more like you or Glenn?
Um, well, they're they're that's hard to say. They're all musically inclined.
Nice.
Um, so, they're hard workers and they know their path. So I would say they're a little bit more like him in that way.
Okay. Do
Yeah.
do the other 4, are they gonna have to go to state?
They want to go to state.
Yeah, but yeah, do they have to?
You know what? I say you can go anywhere you want in the whole world.
Except
But
except Chapel Hill, right?
inside my head, well, inside my head, I'm saying stay at
Yeah.
state. But yeah, my dad went to state and I went to state. I did not graduate from state, but I went there for a year or two and I enjoyed it. But I like that we're Wolfpack.
Yep. No, it's
Yeah.
good. It's good. I
Yeah.
like the bonds of families.
Oh
Uh,
yeah,
so you went to Enloe High School,
I did.
and I went to Millbrook, and I know I am a few years ahead of you.
Yeah.
So did you enjoy going to Enloe?
Well, that's a funny story because I lived across the street from Millbrook and my brother and sister went to Millbrook and I decided I did not want to go just because I wanted to continue in the orchestra and I was a gymnast. So I chose to
Uh,
go to England. And I liked it. It was funny because there was a little bit of, rivalry, I guess, back then, just because, those are the only two high schools that we really knew.
Yeah.
And I only went to Enloe for 1 year and then I moved to Michigan. So I'm the daughter of an Army and then Air Force, now retired lieutenant colonel. So we moved a lot.
What was your favorite place to live?
Albuquerque, New Mexico.
How come?
I remember skiing in the hot sun. I remember being able to be in the valley where there was no snow and then taking a trip up the mountain and skiing. And it was just amazing. It's beautiful country.
Where was the place once you got there, you're like, "How quick can we move?"
Um, Probably Michigan. We got back to Dearborn, Michigan, and I had had enough of the North. So,
Yeah.
yeah. So
Not
now North Carolina's home.
Yeah, and you're not moving. You've already told Glenn that, right?
Yeah, I
Yeah.
told the kids, I moved every year and a half or 2 years,
Yeah.
and I were in the same place. So the children started at Cary, and they will all finish in Cary.
Yeah, and my wife's an Air Force brat, and they lived in Turkey. This was back in the '70s. So they lived in Turkey, they lived in Japan. She graduated high school in Germany.
Oh
So the
yeah.
cool things were that so the give backs were Lubbock and Iowa,
Oh, yeah.
so there's give and take being a military brat in there.
Right. Yeah. We were lucky. We only had little 8 or 9 month stints out west, but we, mostly were in
Yeah.
Michigan and North Carolina. So
Is that where you developed your networking skills because you had to meet people quick because you're always the new girl in town?
I think so. Actually, thinking back on that, it was yeah, it was pretty intimidating to have to
Yep.
change schools. And so yeah, and it's funny because I've noticed that I have a daughter who's a lot like me. And she when she was young, she would go to the playground and I would hear her say, "Do you want to be friends?" And she would just approach anyone. And she's outgoing. And
Nice.
so yeah, I think that helped me. Helps me now.
Alright, now I have, my wife and I have 2 boys, but we have a grandson and 2 granddaughters. So this is fun watching my granddaughters grow up. They're only a year. Maggie was a year yesterday. Cortland's only 6.5 months. But as
Mm,
they get older, interesting watch what it's like to raise a girl.
yeah.
Can I did your daughters ever terrorize any either of your sons and make them dress up and put fingernail polish on them and stuff like that?
No, I don't think we had, they didn't really. They were too busy with their own hair
Okay.
color, hair with Kool-Aid and, all those kinds of things. So they never dressed him up.
That they probably did once and said, "If you tell mom."
Yeah. Well, no, it would be probably, the boys wanting to jump in and do whatever the girls were doing.
Yeah,
So
yeah. That's usually the way it works. So,
yeah.
one of my favorite questions to ask guests that are married is, how did you and Glenn meet, and do you both tell the story the same way?
Of course, he was my plumber. So that's it.
No, I'm gonna need more information on this. So you needed plumbing work. Where were you living at the time?
So I was living in Cary
Okay.
and I actually worked with Equity Resources. And Glenn and I have only been married 3 years. So we met about 5 years ago because his brother was my coworker. And I said, I need a plumber. And he referred me to Glenn. And then that's the rest is history.
Alright, so you see this stud of a man, talented with many skills, walk into your house.
Right.
How long did it take before it's like, "Ooh, we might."
That's funny. I think it was the third visit. He had to come back and fix the toilet
Yeah, he
again.
did. He would have come back 8 more times, wouldn't he?
He was impressed because all the kids are out front doing yard work. He said, "Man, this girl's got it together."
Okay. So where was the
Okay, when I found out he was a musician, I said, "That's it."
okay, right. Where was the official first date?
Official first date, he cooked dinner for me.
Ooh, good call.
Yeah, good call. He's a fantastic chef. I mean,
Wow.
he is the king of the basket, that show where they give you the basket and you can make anything out
Yep.
of it. I forget what that one is, but he can do that. So I was very impressed with his skills.
Wow, he can cook and play music and write
And
music
yeah, he writes music, he
and
cooks,
plums.
he plums, yeah.
Look
We
at
can
you. You won the lottery. Heck with that 1.2 billion, right?
That's right. I hit the jackpot.
Yeah, no kidding.
Yeah.
No kidding. So how long after you guys first went out did you think, okay, I like where this is headed?
Pretty quick. I mean, pretty quick. And what's interesting is I had always been interested in the trades, and I had always loved the idea of starting a company. And we started the business, after we had been dating a few years, and that was an exciting opportunity for us to see how well we could work together. And so, that was kind of when I decided we have a partnership that we can make a wonderful life with. So it's good news.
Yep. And I always like to ask married couples that are in business together, after 5:30, what do you talk about? And who breaks the tie?
So we try very hard to not talk business after 5:30, but that is difficult. So, I think that's kind of the way our life flows, though, is we get to, if I'm working on the weekends, I'm not necessarily working 8 to 5. So we do have things that we get to do together during the day, you know, to plan the rest of our week. One of my favorite things to do when he first started the business was to ride on service calls because, trucks having internet make everything easy.
Oh, yeah. Yep.
Yeah, so that was fun to do together, and then it was amazing how much more productive we were when we would do those service calls together.
Okay. So what plumbing skills have you picked up on?
So I know how to pick up a tool and take it out and help it. That's all that I've been doing, except for I do know that if there's a problem in the toilet, it could potentially cost a lot of money.
Yes.
So that's the one thing. If somebody calls and they're like, the toilet's been running, especially a lot of our clients are investors and they have rental properties.
Uh,
So we like to give them the opportunity for us to check things out, kind of a whole home inspection. And that's a minor cost compared to, a flapper, not catching and running the water bill up. So that happens, and I know you can get a refund at some point, but you're not always guaranteed that. So
no. Yeah. Water from a toilet yeah, that's
yeah.
never good. You're
That's
right
the
about
one
that.
thing I've learned is home maintenance is way more important than I ever thought it was. And that's probably because I moved every 2 years. We
Yeah.
didn't have a home that long. But for someone who has an investment to maintain your property, even your plumbing system, it's important.
And you guys with investors, you help them on one part of the deal and he helps them on the other, right?
That's right. We know who
Interesting.
they need to know.
Yeah.
And that's the coolest part is the first time investor, when they're
Yeah.
just getting into it and realizing the potential that they have for their retirement to be in a part of it to be in real estate, because
When,
we're close to that retirement age.
oh, yeah. Yeah. When you were riding with Glenn, did you have a Westover plumbing shirt with Allison label on their name
I
tag?
didn't. I do have t-shirts, but no, I didn't have it yet. That'll be the next uniform.
Yeah. When he
Mhm.
starts his next company, right? Yeah.
That's right. Well, we're going to branch out to the coast, right? That's
Yes, that's perfect sense. I know that's on your to-do list. So,
right.
do you remember the first m- transaction you ever did in the mortgage world?
Well, hmm, I do remember when I got back into the business in 2016 with Equity Resources. That is when I learned about down payment assistance. And
Mhm.
one of my first clients bought his first home. And of course, we've stayed in touch because, we have a marketing system that helps us reach out to our clients. But I was able to help him repair his credit and qualify for down payment assistance. So that was significant to me because if I can help somebody achieve something they didn't realize was possible,
Yeah.
plus I was giving them free credit repair advice and helping them get to that point where they were closing at the closing table. And actually, I've helped him buy an investment property since then.
Nice.
Yeah,
Nice. All
that
right.
was a
So, go ahead. So let's educate again. And I know you've had this happen to you because other lenders have. when the lender and the realtor tells the buyer, don't go buy anything else on credit
Mhm,
or for a large amount of money. And they're like, "Oh, okay." And then they go buy something and they're like, "Oh, I didn't think that would make a big difference." But it can
mhm.
change everything, can it?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, there's anytime you have a transaction in process, it's important not to withdraw or deposit large amounts of money. And it's important not to open new credit because if you tip the scales on your pre-approval, if you change the scenario and the payments go up, it can affect your debt ratio. And depending on your program, it could cancel the deal.
Yeah, wait till you buy the house before you go out and buy that new car.
Absolutely. They're always going to have, low interest appliance sales. You
Yep,
just have to wait a little bit.
yeah. I know
Absolutely.
you just wanna hang up the phone and shake your head, don't you?
Yeah. Well, it's happened at the closing table. And,
Oh.
then we have to fix it. Then it's a scramble. And, nobody wants to have that.
Or everybody my favorite in BNI is, when somebody references I call him Uncle Billy. I
Mm.
know my Uncle Billy's a landscaper, but he does all of our IT stuff because he loves computers. Like, no, he's not
Yeah.
an IT guy. That I'm sure some of your clients said, "Well, my brother said that it wouldn't be that big a deal."
Yeah.
Your brother's not in the mortgage world, dude.
Right. Yeah. It can absolutely be a big deal. And it's funny because on the other hand, I love it when they say, well, my parents said I needed 20% down.
Yep,
I said, "You don't." Yeah, just come ask me first, that's all.
yep,
I'm always gonna be a source. I may have to tell you
yeah.
no, but
But you'll tell them how to get to yes.
oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's
that's
it it's funny what headlines and bullet points we get fixated on.
yeah,
"Oh, you didn't read the rest of the article, did you?" "No, why?" Well, it explained it, the rest of the articles.
exactly. Well, it's funny how our attention spans
Oh,
can
yeah, the worst, and when a trusted source tells us, we're like, "Okay, well, they gotta be right, they wouldn't lie to me," but it's
right,
generally not the complete information. They might be mostly correct, but it's not the complete information.
right, and that's why I like to be an educator.
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah. Alright, so you are licensed in North and South Carolina.
Yes, North and South Carolina.
Yep. How good of a test taker are you?
How good of a test taker am
Because
I?
you had to pass a couple tests, right, to get
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I'm a great test taker.
right? Our
Yeah.
our grades in school were good growing up.
Always had good grades. Actually have to do some continuing education coming up soon, so that's exciting. I always like to learn more,
Yep,
um, I think we go through a period of time where we're just too busy raising family and, one foot in front of the other where we don't have the time to learn. And now I'm at that point where that lifelong learning is becoming really important to
yep.
me. Yeah.
And you mentioned earlier you have brothers and sisters,
I do. I have a sister here in Raleigh, and my brother lives in the mountains, close to the mountains.
and where are you in the order?
I am the baby.
Oh, you got everything because your mom was tired of hearing you scream. I got a little brother just like that, yeah.
That's right. That's
Alright.
like Ellie did too. She's good. She'll be fine.
Exactly, yeah, yeah. So I'm assuming you have probably a couple of nieces or nephews?
I do. I have five, let's see, one, two, three. I have three nephews and four nieces.
Oh, hats off to you and your brother and sister taking care of your parents, making them grandparents over and over again.
Yes, they got
Uh,
the big.
so
Mhm.
what makes you favorite Aunt Allison?
Ooh, because I'm so fun. I
Please explain.
like to do so many things, really. I'm always willing to try new things. So
Nice.
I think and I'm always trying to make connections. They probably get tired of me talking to them about how many things they can do with the rest of their life,
Yeah.
but I've always got good ideas.
But the minute they come back to you 3 weeks after that conversation saying, "You were right, thank you." It's
Oh,
all you need to know.
well, what I love is I have one of my nieces is an artist. And, if I just happened to meet someone who owned an art gallery. And so I
Ooh,
said, hey, what do you know for a young budding artist? And he was able to introduce us to an art group that she's involved in now. And so that's what I love is, being able to offer them opportunity. I have two, an older niece and an older nephew, and I've asked them to come to our area one wanted to start a cleaning business, and I said, I know some people at my BNI group that I can introduce you to. So I think that's exciting now that they're getting a little older. I can actually give them practical advice.
So you have kids that are musically inclined. You have a niece that is an artist. Are you an artist at all either?
I don't know yet. I'll
Okay.
have to find
Uh,
out.
you should
Don't be surprised. I am looking for some open mic nights. I did say before, on my bucket list is to get up on an open mic night. So we'll see.
to sing or do stand up.
Sing, yeah.
Okay. I like that. I'd buy a ticket to go see that.
We'll see.
Yeah.
I'll let you know.
You should paint one wall in whatever room you want, and that's your wall to just try things and paint things. You can paint over it, right? You
Yeah.
could do that.
I'll just buy other people's art.
Where's the fun in that?
Well, it is a lot of fun.
Yeah.
I love going to charity
Go.
auction. Yeah.
Oh yeah. Yep.
That's me.
Yep. Yeah, you see some really different stuff there, don't you?
Yeah, well, it's nice to be able to, support,
Mm,
people in their
yeah.
endeavors.
All right, so when we're about ready to wrap up here, so some people are going to starting in about 2 or 3 minutes. They're going to process what they've heard. So if they're even remotely thinking about buying, not tomorrow, not Monday, but remotely thinking to plan to buy, what are a couple things they should look at and kind of get in order?
Absolutely need to get your assets in order. Believe it or not, some folks still want to keep cash at home, and that is, a good idea. But when you're looking at buying a home, we need to get some money in the bank. So we want to look at your assets and we want to look at your credit. So the best thing to do is get pre-qualified, and let's just talk about where you want to be, what you can expect, and what to watch in the market. Because once you're pre-qualified or pre-approved, then you can see what's out there, and you need an agent to help you find, the home of your dreams.
And there are 3 credit reporting services nationally. Do we get 1 free credit report a year as a
I believe,
consumer?
I believe you do. I mean, there are several ways that you can
Yeah,
review your credit. And we would pull all three. We'll do a tri-merge, and we would take the middle of those three scores. And if you're going to have a co-borrower, you want to make sure that they've got
yeah.
their stuff is together too. So, and I don't mind looking at it. That's a free process. It's something that I offer. Even the credit repair is free.
Oh, wow.
Free consultation.
Ooh, that's a good thing. All right. Well, we've been putting Allison's phone number on the screen here during the show. So please give her a call, even if you just have a question.
That's right.
That's how it starts. And you want to hang out with people that enjoy educating. So we appreciate the time. 6 kids, love it.
Yeah.
Love it. Yeah. And your parents, with what, 11?
13 grandkids.
Oh, man. I got 3 and it's awesome. I can't
Yeah,
imagine what 13 is like. Yeah.
I know.
Oh, that's too cool.
I want at least 20, so we'll see.
Yeah. Yeah. And they're waiting for great grandkids soon, right?
Yeah.
That's when you'll really start spoiling them. Once you get grandkids, you're like, the
Yeah.
heck with the kids. Now, when,
Oh, I can see
oh, yeah.
how amazing that will be.
Oh, yeah. When our grandkids come to visit, I just say, yeah, Oliver and Maggie are coming and they're bringing their parents. I told you guys don't even have a name anymore. You're just the parents of my grandkids.
That's
So,
right.
but
And
we're
you can see
babysitters.
those times because they do grow up and then they say, "Oh,
Yeah.
we want our own thing."
But we're babysitters. And I tell them, use us. If you two want to leave the house for 2 hours, go.
That's right.
We got your kids. We don't care when you come back. Stay the night. We
Noticed
don't
that.
care.
Yeah, I've noticed that with my friends who have grandkids. I'm watching that,
Oh,
and
yeah. Oh, best club ever. Best club ever. So, anyways, Allison, thanks for being on the show today. We've been putting your
thanks.
phone number up here. Folks,
Okay.
any questions at all, call a professional, call Allison. She will clear up any thoughts you have of what might be right or what might be wrong way to go about this. So, Allison, good luck with the business finishing up the year here. I know Christmas will be here probably about an hour and a half the way time flies.
Yeah.
And good luck with your chapter and appreciate you being on the show.
Thank you, Mike.
And we will see everybody next time on Triangle BNI.
You are tuned to the Nissan Communications Network. If you tuned in too late, you can always watch each program in its entirety or download an MP3 audio file of it in the archives section at nissancommunications.com. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel, follow us on Twitter, and like us on Facebook. Sponsored by StreamingGear.com, Carolina Apparel, and DeltaForce.net.